Good evening and welcome to our Facebook Live this evening. My name is Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire in the UK. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's a viewer's choice this evening, which means I allow you to choose what we're using for our card making. And the first thing I did was give everybody the option of choosing Daffodil Afternoon papers or the rainbow papers. Sunshine and Rainbows they're called. Both of these are from the Sale-A-Bration catalogue, so both can be earned for free. And the winning choice was daffodils. Hi Katie, I hope you're well. So that's where we're going to start. Now I have no idea how this is going to go together, because I literally just have put the papers down and that is it. So I'm going to just take my time to work through a couple of card designs with you, using the designer paper as the main element in the project. So let me get everything trying to get everything working on my phone. It's not really playing the game. There we go. So, okay. Hi Jeanette and hi Brenda. So I had a great afternoon crafting with our ladies for our card class today. Really enjoyed it. Really good fun. So thanks to them for joining me. So this Daffodil Afternoon paper comes as a pack of 12 sheets of 12 by 12 papers. So that is the full sheet that you can see there. So I'll just whip through these. So you get 6 different sheets, 2 of each, and these are all double-sided. This is perfect for a quick card. I'm going to start with this one, because all you need to do is just cut this up and add a sentiment, layer it onto a card and you're done. So we have this one here. Then we have this one with the all over daffodils. Susan's watching, not listening. That's fine. And then we have this one here. I think that's probably the other way around, with the little flowers. And then we have an all over design. We have an all over daffodil print. I'm not sure whether you can actually see that. Oh, you might just be able to make it out. And then another all over design with daffodils and daisies. So that's one side. And then on the reverse we have a mixture of stripes, spots. These are little hearts, so this is like pear pizzazz, and this is all on very vanilla for a change. We have a checkerboard design, like a graphic design, almost like a gingham. We have little crosses, vanilla on black, and then finally so a little sort of leaf image on yellow. Now all of our designer series paper have a card that comes with them, and that tells you what the different colours are that coordinate with this. Now you don't have to have the matching colours, but it does mean if you have a selection of colours at home, you can easily then pick out the colours to go with it, rather than trying to work out which colour is which. And something that I do, which I wanted to share with you, is when I have a each of the catalogues, what I do is when I've got the paper is I cut that label out. So sometimes it's on plastic if it's a cellophane wrapped one. So what I do is I cut those out. So these are all from the January to June catalogue, so that I don't, if these pieces get separated, I can just see which colours are matching. Now they're all in the catalogue as well, so you can look them up in the catalogue, but I just find it easier to have them to hand. And then if I'm doing anything with designer papers, all I need to do is find my pack of these, and then I know what colours I'm working with. So that's just a little useful hint for you. I'm accompanied by Cassie, who's currently digging to Australia again. Okay, so I'm going to start, as I said, with this piece here, and this makes a perfect number of cards. So you can make 6 out of this if you cut them approximately 4 inches a piece. Let me grab my trimmer. So what you can do is cut this straight at the 6-inch mark to begin with, and then you can decide individually where you want to trim that down. So that's what I'm going to do for this one, like so. So daffodils traditionally we see at Easter, but I think they work perfectly for spring cards, birthday cards. Hi Tracy. Yeah, any sort of cheery cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this, I think, to 9.5, so I'm going to layer this up. And then I've got the choice either to cut from the bottom, because I need to fit this onto a card. At the moment that is 6 inches, or cut the top. I think I'm going to cut the bottom. So ideally for my layers, this needs to be 13.85. So I am going to take a little bit off the top first. Sorry about Cassie. And then that little bit off the bottom, like so. So that's going to be my base layer for my card. And I have got some very vanilla cardstock. And some scraps of evening evergreen. So the greens that are in here, we have evening evergreen and we have pear pizzazz. So what I'm going to do is layer, I think, like that onto my card and just literally stamp a sentiment. So let's cut this piece down. This is just a scrap I happen to have. So this is going to measure 10 centimeters by 14.35. So that's going to layer nicely onto there. I could also have chosen the pear pizzazz, this lighter green. Oh, hi Charlotte. I hope you're feeling okay. I saw your post earlier, suffering with a migraine. Poor thing. Bless you. Okay, so this is very vanilla card. So if you didn't have vanilla, I would just use a light coloured card rather than a white, because it looks, you know, it's quite a stark contrast. And I apologise because I've got bags come back from class this afternoon and bags ready for coffee and cards that I do tomorrow, and so it's everything's a little bit all over the place. There we go. So all I'm going to do is stamp a sentiment on here. Now there is a daffodil stamp set, not surprisingly, in the January to June catalogue. It's called Daffodil Daydream, and it does have matching daffodil dies that create some really lovely daffodil flowers. I've just purchased these stamp sets to start with, and I just think that we could pop on Easter blessings or Mother's Day, or obviously this would make a perfect birthday card. Oh, actually it might make a good thank you card. I might just swap that idea. Sorry. Let me grab a thank you. Of course I can't see one to hand. I've actually got this one from Flowers of Friendship, which has got many thanks from all of us. Thank you for everything, and little card, big thanks. So I think thank you for everything would work quite nicely here. And just to coordinate that, I'm going to stamp that in the Evening Evergreen ink. So I just need to grab. There we go. So I hope everybody is well. Certainly the weather today has been a vast improvement over the last few days. Okay, so here I've got thank you for everything. Just grab a small piece of grid paper to stamp onto. So this set of papers is free in Sale-A-Bration. So between now and the end of February, so 28th of February, if you order £45 worth of product, you can choose these papers or the rainbow papers for free. And the rainbow papers are 6 by 6, and you get 48 sheets. So the same, effectively the same amount. So, okay, that looks good. So I'm just going to stamp this onto my piece of card. Get it roughly straight would help. Take my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. And pop that on the top. There we go. I think my Evening Evergreen needs a little bit of re-inking. Okay, so there I've got thank you for everything on there. I'm going to layer these up, and then one thing I'm going to add let's see if I can find them. From class this afternoon, and that's the little brass butterflies. So bear with me while I just look for those. hoping I can see them. And of course I can't, can I? I will have a look in a minute because that would be a nice finishing touch just to add those little butterflies on. Aha! I found them. There we go. So these are our brushed brass butterflies, which would be a nice addition, I think. So just going to layer these up. And I refilled my seal the other day. Such a long time since I've done it, I forgot how to do it. Okay, there we go. So there's our layer onto Evening Evergreen. Like so. And then I'm going to pop this onto Very Vanilla. Like so. If that's the right size. Just measure it to be sure. Slightly big. It's funny, it just didn't quite look right, and it was only 2 millimeters. It's only that much out, but I could see that this wasn't going to be central on there. Okay, so let's pop that down. So we've got thank you for everything. And then we can add a couple of these butterflies. So you get 2 different sizes and they are self-adhesive. Just pick one up. I've got my take your pick tool at the ready. So I think I'm going to use just one of those, like so. See that? Let me move that out of the way like that. Now what you can do if you want to step this up a little bit is you could colour in some of these daffodils. So if you don't want these light coloured daffodils, what you could do is add in your own colour with a blend pen. If you were careful, you could use a blender pen and ink, or you could use an aqua painter, but just don't get it too wet. So can you see there? I'll add that one in. I want to move that other way so it doesn't. There we go. Oh, slightly precarious. And you can do this on any of the papers, so you can take your time. So this is light Daffodil Delight. Of course, it's exactly the right colour for this purpose. And you could just pick out 1 or 2, or you could do the whole sheet if you wanted to. And if you wanted to take a little bit further, you could add the dark Daffodil Delight in the middle, like so, and then blend it out to the light. So where you've got designer paper, don't feel you have to use it as is. Look at adding some additional colour or content. Just to change the look of it a little bit, which is good if you need to do a quick card or set of cards. Then I would just cut this, add the sentiment, add the butterfly and be done with it. But if you wanted to make a set of cards, you could take the time to colour in some of the panels. Okay, now it's not going to come through because this is layered onto one layer of card and then the base card itself, and even if you put it straight onto the base card it shouldn't really come through. But if you're worried about that happening, do your colouring in first. Okay, what to do? I think I want to do 2 more. So we've got 5 coloured in. That's that one. And this one here. So really simple. I love it when the papers do the work. Go. And because this has got a dark background, it doesn't really matter if you go over the edge a little bit. It's not going to worry at all. There we are. So there's our first card, done and dusted. What do you think? Do you like it with the yellow daffodils or with the pale daffodils? I don't know which is more traditional for us here in the UK. Right, let's choose another bit of paper and do the second design. So that was the sheet that we cut it from, so you'd easily get 6 cards out of that one sheet, so you could get 12 cards out of the whole pack. This would be another one that you could do the colouring on if you wanted to, as you could with this one. Okay, now I rather like this one here with the yellow daffodil backing, so I think I'm going to use that. And although this has got a little bit of vanilla on it, you could put this on white, or you could put it onto very vanilla. Couldn't think of the words then. Okay, so let's cut this one to 10 centimeters. Like so. 14.35. Haven't quite decided what base I might use for that one, but I think what I'm going to do is stamp one of these and pop it on here. Now, as I say, this does have die cuts. I also like this one here with all the little spots. So what I'm going to do is, I haven't used the stamp set before, as you can see, so let's just take this off. I do like this little cute little butterfly as well. Right, let's grab a larger block. Not quite. Here's this one. And I think what I'm going to do is stamp it onto a piece of Very Vanilla and then colour it from there. See what that looks like. So like our basic white card, our Very Vanilla comes in two thicknesses. Comes in thin or standard, which we use for stamping onto. It's perfect for that purpose. And then we have thick, which is what we use for card bases. So I'm just going to cut this to the size of the card. And then I'm going to stamp and then decide I might die cut it, I might fussy cut it. Not quite sure. Okay, how are we doing for time? 7. Hi Catherine. Oh, hi Virginia. Lovely to have you join us again. So, let us stamp this. Let's bring this one back. So again, because I haven't stamped this, I'm going to stamp it first on my grid paper. And I'm using, of course, Early Espresso. That goes without saying, doesn't it? And I think, actually, you could stamp this on here as a separate card, and I think that would actually work in its own right. Oh, I'm just going to do that. I might stamp another one anyway, just because it's a lovely little image. Let's have that like so. There, like that, and I am going to add those little dots as well across the top. Let's grab another block. So these are great little dots, just perfect. No, just going to leave it like that, I think, like so, and pop. I'm just going to pop another. I've not left much space for my thank you for this one, so let's have a look and see if my Easter blessings will fit a little bit better. Okay, so slight change of plan. I will go back to my original plan in a minute, but I just thought this was really nice. Easter blessings. And you could pop this onto a die cut and put it across here. And the other thing that would be really nice is our Bumblebee ribbon. You could add a little bow of that Bumblebee, which would look lovely on there. So there's, I'm just going to put that one aside because that was a sort of extra one. Let me cut this panel down and do what I was going to do, which was stamp it onto the vanilla. Oops, a daisy. there's our backing again. Okay, right, swap that over, and then I'll decide. So this is currently the size of the card, so I'm going to stamp it and colour it, and then decide if I fussy cut it or just cut it as a smaller panel or die cut it. So going to move this slightly further to the left. Oh, it's not very straight, is it? Yeah, I do need to make that a little bit straighter. Apologies, everybody. I will put the stickers on, labels on. Okay, let's try that. That's better. It's straighter. And then I can add Easter blessings or my thank you. But I'm going to leave that until I've decided how I'm going to cut this out. Okay, so let's do a small amount of colouring. I don't want to bore you completely. So I've got dark and light, and daffodils are, as you can see from the samples in the papers, quite, you know, they can be quite different colours, from very pale. So you could use So Saffron for that. This is dark daffodil, and then they have sort of dark edges and then lighter on the inside. Let's just try that and see what it looks like. I'll do that and then I'll bring it up to the camera. So you get a slightly different look when you're colouring in on vanilla. There we go. So if I lift that up, hopefully you can see that. So I've left a little bit of white sort of on the inside of there. So let's do these just really quickly. And I think it helps that it's vanilla, it doesn't look quite as harsh. Okay. So if you're watching this on replay, this was recorded on the 22nd of February 2022. So it's a palindrome in that it's written the same way backwards and forwards. And it's also the same upside down. And that has a different name, and I'm desperately trying to think what it's called. It was on my phone. I saved it this morning. Let me have a look. What's it called? Facebook images, there it is. It is called an ambigram. It reads the same from left to right, from right to left, and upside down. There you go, an ambigram. There's quite a few people who've got birthdays today as well. So, good day to have a birthday. Okay, so I'm just doing the back of this one here, and then I'll add some green for the leaves. So you don't have to use this daffodil set with these papers. Obviously they coordinate really well with it, but if you've already got an existing daffodil stamp, which many of us probably have, then utilize those. We had a lovely daffodil stamp a little while ago. I'm desperately trying to think what it was called. It was daffodil something. But that retired a year or so ago. But they do come back, obviously, in a slightly different form. But a daffodil is a daffodil, isn't it? Okay, so I'm just adding a bit of dark on one side of the leaves. Just trying to work out what's a leaf, or stalk rather. There's one in there, that little tip there. Okay, and then I'm just going to use light, so this is Granny Apple Green. I think this is a bud actually, just spotted that. There we go. So I might do that with a little bit of crumb cake, because they have like that casing, don't they? I'm sure it's got a name. Ta-dum. Oh, there's a tiny little bit there. So I'm not spending a huge amount of time colouring it in. So I've got light crumb cake. Just going to do for this little bit here. Like so. You can see that. And I missed a tiny bit there. I think I've got everything else. I can always go back in and add to it later. Okay, let's pop these away in my storage. I do like my Stampin' Up storage for my blends. It's right on my desk. It's perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to mount this onto here. So I can either use a die cut to cut that panel out, and I can think of a few that would work for that, or I could fussy cut round it. What do we think? Oh, hi Sam, I do apologise, and hi Kerry. Good morning, I should say, to Kerry. So I'm just wondering whether to fussy cut that or cut that as a panel. What do we think? Let me have a quick look. So I was thinking the ornate layers. This one might be almost too big. Certainly too tall. But I could cut that. I could run it through again and cut it down. See how much. I'm going to cut those leaves off. Or shall I just fussy cut it? Die cutting. Oh good. Is that because you don't want me to sit there fussy cutting it? Right, let me find the other set I was thinking of. I was thinking of the scallop edge. Bear with me while I just dig those out. Thinking this one maybe. Cuts it off a little bit. Thing is, I want to be able to see this behind, so I don't want to cut. I don't want to cover up too much. So this is the next one up. That would sort of work. That's probably better, isn't it? It's a little bit borderline. Right. What do you reckon? That one is a bit better? Or that one? That feels like it's a little bit too tight, doesn't it? So yes, I'm not well, I like a little bit of fussy cutting, Sam. Let's put it that way. Okay, so let's try this. I can always make it smaller. Can't go back and make it any bigger, that's for sure. Okay, so ideally we want to, now what I could do is have this slightly over to the left, but I don't think my sentiment will fit. Or we might do. I'm going to risk it. Okay. So I know that the die cut edge is literally right on the edge of this die, so that I know I can bring it in a little bit, like so. And you want to make sure when you're putting it through your die cutting machine that you're not putting it flat, it's coming in at an angle to spread the load. Otherwise you're putting undue pressure on your die cutting machine. Right, let me just cut that one out. There we go. Right. Okay. There we are. So I'm happy with that. And I'm hoping that my sentiment will fit in there. And if it doesn't, I'll just pick out a smaller sentiment. Simple as that. Okay, so this one says Easter blessings. which I think would fit in nicely. Not that it necessarily needs to be an Easter card, but just going to correct this because it wasn't on very straight. That looks better. And I'm going to stamp in Early Espresso again. Oh, that's not very straight at all. Okay, let's try that. It's better. It goes down very slightly. Like so. There we go. Easter blessings just in. I could have put it a little bit further over, but I think I've got away with it. Hi, Zana. Right, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to layer that onto a card. So I wonder what card I could put this straight. I think I'm going to put this straight onto. Let's have a look and see whether it needs that or whether it needs something darker. So I could put this on a layer, but I quite like having more of that on view. Let me just have a look at a pear pizzazz. Or something. Or granny apple. This is granny apple, which matches the yellow. Ugh, matches the green. Oh no, don't like that at all. So sorry, I'm just making sure I'm picking up the right vanilla. The thick, not the thin. Okay. So this is crushed curry. Yeah, just too close. So here's my standard size card. Just going to fold it. So this is thick. Oops, very vanilla. Normally I would score that, but just trying to save you a little bit of time. And I think that is also cut slightly long. I have no idea why that is. Yeah. I must have cut, when I was cutting it, I haven't used vanilla for a long time. I must have used a different measurement. Okay, so they're going to go onto there. Just making sure that is the right way up. So just centralising that, and then this is going to go on. I think I'm going to do it, I think I'm just going to do it flat. Like so. I'm going to have it slightly high rather than in the centre. And this definitely calls for a little bit of that lovely ribbon. Let me grab some. Assuming I have some left. Black and white. Ooh. Sorry everybody. Okay, I've got plain daffodil. Oh, actually it isn't. This is Bumblebee, which will work nicely. I've put aside the gingham ribbon for another project, so I'm not going to go and hunt that out. There we go. So this is Bumblebee, a cotton ribbon, and this is one of the colours that will be retiring at the end of April, along with Magenta Madness, Cinnamon Cider, Misty Moonlight and Just Jade. Oh dear. Right, I think that needs to go in there. Oh, covering up my blessings now. That's too low. Decisions on the flowers. Make it just a little bit smaller. Then it can be on my daffodils without covering everything else up. There we go. That's going to pop onto there. And I can't see my glue dots. So I'll just pop it on with a little bit of wet glue. And we're done. Oh, let's find, I've got a new one here. So just a bit of wet glue where it's going to go. And then I'm going to pop that on. Add a little bit of pressure. And then just let that dry naturally. So there we go, our 2 cards using the Daffodil Afternoon papers. 2.5, because I've got this one here as well. And you could do a little bit of extra colouring on that if you want to do, but I do quite like it on that base. Thank you, Jeanette. So let me just bring these up to the camera. So there's that one there. I did the little brass butterfly add a little bit of colour to some of those daffodils. And then this one here on the die cut panel, and I would stamp that daffodil head on the inside as well. And there we go. So thank you for joining me this evening. I might carry on with some daffodils tomorrow. This is the stamp set, just to show you. Daffodil Daydream. So you've got the bunch of 3, you've got the single daffodil, you've got this cute little butterfly, you've got an ornamental border, some dots, and then 2 sentiments, Mother's Day and Easter blessings. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me this evening. I've got 2 minutes before my evening meeting starts, so I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday at 10 AM UK time, and I look forward to crafting with you then. And add a butterfly, says Kerry. Okay, let's do it. Why not? Oh, I should have put it near the Easter. Wonder if I can rescue it. The glue is actually in the shape of the butterfly, of course. Right, so I can pick this up and put it down there. There we go. Easter blessings. Thank you, Tracy. Right, there we go. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, everybody. If you can join me in person, and if not, then I hope you'll catch us on replay. Thank you so much for your company this evening. Take care now. Bye.